You have cried over something you cannot fully explain. Not just grief, not just pain. A song that hit differently on a specific night. A stranger being kind to someone who needed it. The ending of a story about people who never existed. You felt something move through your chest and your eyes filled, and you may have wiped them quickly hoping nobody noticed. And here is what nobody ever tells you about that moment. That was not weakness. That was not sentiment. That was one of the most sophisticated biological signals ever developed in the entire history of life on this planet, firing exactly the way it was designed to fire. For reasons that go back so far into human prehistory that the world that produced them no longer exists. Today we are going back to the beginning, to the moment tears became something more than moisture, to the reason you cry at things that cannot hurt you. And once you understand what crying actually is, you will never be embarrassed by it again. Most people think crying is emotional overflow. The feeling gets too big and the body releases it through tears, like a pressure valve, like the emotion simply exceeds the container and leaks out through the eyes. That explanation sounds reasonable. It is also almost entirely wrong. Human beings are the only species on Earth that cries emotionally. Every other animal produces tears for lubrication and irritant removal. Only humans produce tears in response to emotional states. This is not a minor distinction. This is one of the most significant biological differences between humans and every other creature that has ever lived on this planet. And it did not happen by accident. Evolution does not produce expensive biological systems by accident. Emotional tears require specific neurological pathways, specific chemical compositions different from irritant tears, specific social signaling mechanisms that only function in the presence of other humans. This entire system was built deliberately by millions of years of natural selection, which means it was doing something important enough to justify the cost of building it. The question is what? The first reason here is where it gets genuinely hard to believe. Researchers analyzing the chemical composition of emotional tears found something unexpected. Emotional tears contain specific hormones not present in irritant tears. Prolactin, adrenocorticotropic hormone. Leucine and enkephalin, a natural painkiller. The act of crying does not just signal distress. It chemically alters the state of the person doing it. Prolactin levels drop after crying. Stress hormones reduce. The natural painkiller released provides measurable relief. Crying is not just an expression of how you feel. Crying is a biological intervention on how you feel. Your body uses tears, the way a doctor uses medication, to change the internal chemical environment, to reduce suffering actively rather than passively. This is why you feel different after crying than before. Not because the problem changed, because your body chemically intervened on your behalf. The second reason, but chemical self-regulation, explains only part of the picture. Here is the part that modern social researchers find most significant. Tears are visible at a distance. This seems obvious, but the implication is enormous. Your body chose the face, the most watched, most analyzed, most socially significant part of the human body, as the location for its distress signal. Not the hands, not the chest, not any hidden location. The face, the place every other human automatically looks when reading social information. Researchers studying the social response to tears found consistent results across dozens of different cultures. The sight of tears in another person produces automatic responses. Attention increases. Aggression decreases. Helping behavior activates, even in strangers. Even in people who have no prior relationship with the person crying. Even in competitive or hostile situations, the appearance of genuine tears changes the social dynamic immediately and measurably. Tears are not just a signal. Tears are a social technology, one of the most effective ever developed, designed to communicate need, reduce threat, and activate helping behavior in other humans automatically, instantly, and across any language barrier that has ever existed. Run that through the survival filter. Your ancestors lived in groups where individual survival depended entirely on group response. An injured hunter who could not signal genuine distress might not receive help in time. A mother separated from her group who could not communicate need might not be found. A child frightened beyond words who could not trigger the protective instinct in nearby adults might not survive the night. Tears solved all of these problems simultaneously. They communicated need without language. They reduced the threat response in others at the moment help was most required. They activated protective and helping behaviors automatically in anyone who saw them. In a world without hospitals, without emergency services, without any of the systems modern humans use to signal and respond to crises, crisis, tears were the alarm system, the emergency beacon, the universal signal that cut through every other social complexity and said simply and unmistakably, this person needs help right now. The third reason but here is the discovery that changes everything. If tears were only a distress signal, you would only cry when you were genuinely in distress. And you do not. You cry at music, at films, at strangers being kind, at moments of unexpected beauty, at things that cannot hurt you and have no survival relevance whatsoever. Why? Researchers studying emotional tears in non-distress situations found a pattern that nobody expected. The situations that produce tears outside of pain and fear share a specific characteristic. They involve the confirmation of something deeply important, a value you hold so fundamental that its expression moves you beyond words. The song that makes you cry is not making you sad. It is expressing something you feel so deeply that your ordinary emotional range cannot contain the response. The film that breaks you open is not a threat. It is showing you something true about human experience that resonates with something you already carry inside you. The stranger being kind to someone who needed it is not hurting you. It is confirming that the world contains something you deeply need to believe it contains. This type of crying has a specific name in psychology, Muta, a Sanskrit term adopted by researchers because no Western language had an adequate word for it. The feeling of being suddenly moved, of being overcome by something beautiful or meaningful or true. It produces tears, goosebumps, a warmth in the chest. And it happens when the world confirms something you love is real. What your tears are saying here is what this means when you put it all together. When you cry from pain, your body is chemically intervening to reduce your suffering and signaling to others that you need help. When you cry from grief, your body is processing a loss significant enough that ordinary emotional systems cannot handle it alone. The tears are not weakness. They are your nervous system doing the most complex emotional processing it is capable of doing. When you cry at something beautiful, your body is telling you that what you just witnessed touched something so fundamental to who you are that the ordinary boundary between internal experience and external expression simply dissolve. Every type of human crying traces back to the same root. Something matters so much that the normal systems are not enough, and your body, built by millions of years of evolution for exactly this situation, responds with the most powerful social and biological signal it possesses. The people who told you crying was weakness had it completely backwards. Crying requires something to matter enough to produce that response. And in a life where nothing matters enough, where everything is processed and managed and kept at a safe emotional distance, the inability to cry is not strength. It is loss. A loss of access to the part of yourself that is still connected to what is real and what is true and what is worth feeling. The deepest truth modern neuroscientists studying emotional crying have described something that stays with them long after the research is done. The neural pathways involved in emotional crying are among the most ancient structures in the human brain, older than language, older than abstract thought, older than almost every cognitive ability that modern humans consider uniquely human. Crying is not something civilization added to humanity. Crying is something humanity carried into civilization from whatever came before, from the long dark before language existed to describe what we felt, from the time when the only way to tell the person next to you that something mattered was to let your face show it in the way that every human brain, without training or translation, automatically understood. Your ancestors cried, in bone shelters on frozen steppes, around fires in caves, in moments of loss and moments of reunion and moments when the world showed them something so beautiful or so terrible that the ordinary human response was simply not enough. They did not know the chemistry. They did not know the neuroscience. They did not need to. They just knew that when someone cried, it meant something real was happening. And so do you. The next time you feel that pressure building behind your eyes, do not look away from it. Do not apologize for it. Do not manage it before it can reach your face. Let it come. Because what you are feeling in that moment is not weakness breaking through. It is proof that something in your life is real enough, true enough, and important enough to reach the oldest part of you, the part that existed before words, before walls, before any of the distance modern life puts between humans and what they actually feel. That part of you has been crying for 200,000 years, and it has never once been wrong about what mattered. This is Primal Pages. We do not just explain history, we explain you. If something in this video reached that place inside you, you already know what to do.